multi-millionaire Robert Durst is behind bars. The change in circumstance hasn't wiped the grin off his face. The real estate heir has captivated the country, in part thanks to a new documentary series called The Jinx. Even after being charged with murder, his behavior continues to amaze. Here's ABC's Matt Gutman.
Today, Robert Durst slumped in a squad car and smiling eerily to reporters outside a New Orleans courtroom. The millionaire, the prime suspect in a murder mystery playing out in real life and on screen.
Because I think it's not based on facts, it's based on ratings.
Authorities looking for clues, searching Durst's condo in Houston tonight after he was arrested at this hotel in New Orleans Saturday night. Many believing an HBO documentary was his undoing.
After a while, you start thinking, you got away with it. You'll never be caught. That's why he sat down and spoke on camera.
And tonight, questions about his sanity as he was moved just hours ago to a mental health facility here in Louisiana.
That's him and that cruiser right there.
Like, what could he have been thinking when he agreed to interview in the 6-part HBO documentary called The Jinx? Was it an insatiable need for attention? Or perhaps was he looking to be caught? A suspect already in not one, but 3 separate deaths.
Did not tell the whole truth. Nobody tells the whole truth.
The documentary may now be crucial evidence in the case in the murder of Susan Berman, who was shot dead in her Los Angeles home in 2000.
I can't discuss the specifics of the case. Obviously, this is a case that's going to be tried in the courts and not in the media. I know there is intense interest. Obviously, the documentary helped to fuel that.
Sunday night's final episode of The Jinx revealed a bombshell piece of potential evidence.
So obviously I want to ask you about the cadaver note.
Durst was confronted by filmmaker Andrew Jarecki with handwriting analysis that may tie him to Berman's murder.
And can you tell me which one you didn't write?
No.
But perhaps more disturbing
I am going to go use the restroom.
were the shocking words he muttered into his microphone, still recording in the bathroom, what some might consider a confession.
What the hell did I do? Kill them all. Of course.
It is a mind-blowing turn in the increasingly strange story of Robert Durst. The wealthy heir and subject of public fascination since 1982, when his first wife, Kathleen, mysteriously vanished.
Kathy told anybody who would listen, all her friends, if anything ever happens to me, look to Bob. Bob did it. Don't let him get away with it.
Ellen Strauss was a longtime friend of Kathleen Durst.
The moment Kathy disappeared, I knew that Bob had done away with her. I mean, I was hoping against hope that really maybe he had just beaten her up and we'd find her some way, but I knew she was dead.
Did you have anything to do with the death of your wife?
I don't know that she's dead.
Do you think that it's possible that she's alive now?
It's possible. Not likely.
The case went cold until 2000, when New York prosecutors renewed their focus on Durst in connection with his wife's disappearance.
I began the investigation and started looking to talk to all of the people who knew Robert Durst at the time in 1982 when she went missing.
Susan Berman had been working as Durst's personal spokesperson. Then, one night, she was found murdered in her home. Authorities say she was scheduled to meet with them to talk about the Kathleen Durst case.
Durst was sending Susan Berman money, $50,000. Why would he send her that much money at or about the time that we're looking to talk to her? Could it be to shut her up? Could it be to convince her not to say the truth?
I felt terrible for Susan. I was astonished that they were putting all this together, that I did it or I caused it to be done.
Once again, Durst evaded formal charges. In an attempt to escape the negative publicity, Durst fled to Texas, disguising himself as a mute woman. And in Texas, another killing. Durst's neighbor, 71-year-old Morris Black, found chopped up into small pieces in the Galveston Bay. At his murder trial, Durst admitted to killing Morris Black and dismembering the body, but claimed it was in self-defense.
With the jury, find the defendant not guilty.
He was acquitted of murder.
Somehow they bamboozled the jury into believing that Durst and Black got into a scuffle and that Durst fired in self-defense. And then, out of fear of prosecution, dismembered the body.
It seems like a lot of people around Robert Durst have died. Violent deaths.
Durst avoided the public eye until 2010. He then contacted filmmaker Andrew Jarecki with an irresistible offer to tell his side of his story, despite his lawyer's advice.
An interview is a big risk for you. Why do you want to do an interview?
Hey, Bob.
Why would Durst take such a big risk?
Robert Durst sat down with HBO because he loves the adulation. He loved the cat and mouse aspect of talking about all of these people in his life that are either dead or missing. That's why he did it.
The only thing I can think of as to why he would do this would be that he loves the game. He loves the idea of walking right up to that line and seeing how far he can go. He just never imagined there'd be a new piece of evidence for him to have to address.
While investigators search his apartment overnight, the New Orleans Sheriff's Department request to transfer Durst for reasons of insanity was approved by the state of Louisiana Court of Appeal. Indeed, his behavior in court these past days has seemed erratic.
Before his hearing, Durst was held here. When his name was called, he went out this door. The millionaire, shackled, hands and feet, in an orange jumpsuit, came to this spot and he looked at the judge. The judge asked him questions. He answered yes or yes, Your Honor.
He will not plead insanity because that would mean he was insane at the time of the crime in 2000 and likely at all times since then. He's not going to argue that. Is it possible that he becomes so incapacitated temporarily now such that they have to postpone the trial? I guess that's possible, but do not expect a mental defect defense here.
Tonight, with Robert Durst housed in a mental health facility, the case growing ever more complicated.
I would like to see Bob put away either in prison or in a mental institution. He belongs in one or the other for the rest of his life, so he can't harm anyone else. He may look like a frail fellow, but it doesn't take that much strength to pull a trigger.
For Nightline, I'm Matt Gutman in New Orleans.